Desde hermosa 1470M 96.9 FM, caféconlecheradio.com. Les habla Lilia Galindo y me acompaña el día de hoy el analista político Thomas Elias. Elias, good morning, buenos días.
Buenos días, Lilia.
Welcome to Café con Leche, Tom.
Thank you.
I would like to talk about Governor Newsom, what is going to happen with the recall.
Well, it's let me put it this way. Back in 2003, when Gray Davis was recalled and Arnold Schwarzenegger was elected governor as a replacement, the New York Times ran a headline that said, "All politics is loco." That's a play on words, because there's the old saying that all politics is local, and you have to know what's going on in every particular area to understand the whole country as a whole. And basically they're saying that recalls are crazy, and they're right. And we're seeing that right now. And think of the craziness just in the last week. You had John Cox getting out with a Kodiak bear and campaigning with a bear. Granted, the bear was on a leash, and it had a trainer with it, but it was a rental bear.
So funny.
And so what did Mr. Cox do? He complained that the bear got more publicity than he did, and.
I wish he had think that before he did it.
Then we had Caitlyn Jenner, the former Olympic decathlon champion, who used to be known as Bruce Jenner, and she's a transgender, and she claimed that she didn't vote for Trump in 2020, that she didn't vote at all in the 2020 election. Mm-hmm. But the election records show that she did.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So we have the one guy caught in stupidity and the other one caught in a lie, because Caitlyn Jenner doesn't want anyone to understand that she voted for Trump. And yet she has one of Trump's former campaign managers running her campaign, which is not doing very well. It's only drawing about 6% support. It's not going to go very far. Let's put it this way. Caitlyn Jenner is not Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Caitlyn Jenner is trying to get Republicans to vote for a transgender, and Republicans are against anything that transgenders want to do. As a whole, the party is trying to keep transgenders from competing in sports and using bathrooms and just about anything you can think of. Yeah, it's a crazy season right now, and the New York Times is right. These days, all politics are loco.
Okay, hold on a second. I'm going to translate. Estamos hablando de qué es lo que está pasando con el gobernador, que ya saben, hay un recall para él. Y dice que en el año 2003, el gobernador Gray Davis, que le hicieron recall y perdió con el Terminator, con Arnold, dice, en ese entonces se dicen que toda la política es local, pero ahorita están diciendo que toda la política es loca. Hay un candidato republicano, el gobernador Newsom tiene muy buena reputación acá y somos muchos demócratas. Hay un candidato que se llama John Cox, que está corriendo con una campaña que hizo donde aparece con un oso. Y dice, y bueno, estaba quejándose que le hicieron más caso al oso que a él con su campaña. Hay también una persona que es transgénero y que también es republicano, que tiene muy poco apoyo, por supuesto, porque las políticas del Partido Republicano rechazan totalmente este tipo de cosas. Y bueno, ella o él dijo que no había votado en las elecciones del 2020 y se descubrió que sí había votado, y adivinen por quién, por Donald Trump, pero no quiere identificarse como votador de Donald Trump. Pero dice, pero es inútil, haga lo que haga, porque el Partido Republicano no va a apoyar a una persona transgénero. Okay, you can continue. Dice, por eso dicen que la política es loca.
But in another way, Governor Newsom is treating this recall as conventional politics. For instance, he wants to give the voters a $600 tax rebate just at the time, just before the recall vote will be held. Because you understand that he can't just by himself hand out this money. He needs the legislature to vote on it, and then the state controller will have to get all the checks ready. And by the time they're mailed out, it's going to be September, October, and that will be just before the recall vote is held. It's going to be held probably in October or early November. And so we don't have an actual date set for it yet, but that's about when it's going to be. So that's as conventional as you can get. You may remember that last year, when President Trump, when Donald Trump was still president, he arranged for a big, handout to every taxpayer. Every taxpayer was getting $1,200 back, and Trump arranged for himself to sign all the checks just before the election. Didn't help him get reelected, but the idea was the same as Newsom's idea of giving everybody $600. It's very conventional politics. And so we see Newsom all week long this week. He's been going to one part of the state after another and pushing something he calls his $100 billion California comeback plan, or a California roars back plan. It's funny how everybody's talking about roaring. Cox is talking about being beastly. Newsom's talking about roaring. And we really do have a lot of craziness going on in the state. Mm-hmm. You don't normally hear that kind of language in politics. It's just funny to see it. His campaign is now making me laugh.
Okay,
but why not?
So let me translate everything that you are saying. Yep. Ni para este recall, dice el gobernador Newsom está siguiendo la política convencional. Dice, está preparando una rebaja en los impuestos de $600 que sería entregado justo antes de que se lleve a cabo el recall. Dice, pero obviamente tiene que ser con la aprobación de los legisladores, él no puede hacerlo solo, y está planeando que para esto se entregue para septiembre, octubre, o tal vez en los días tempranos de noviembre, cuando va a ser la elección y el recall. Así es que dice, si ustedes se acuerdan, el presidente Trump, cuando era presidente, cuando entregó los $1,200, se dio la maña para poder firmar todos los cheques para que eso le ayudara en la elección. Desafortunadamente no ganó, pero sí hizo el esfuerzo. Dice, mientras tanto, el gobernador Newsom está visitando muchas partes del estado, promoviendo un paquete de $1 billón para un plan para revivir la economía de California. Así es que todo eso es lo que se está usando para evitar el recall. Even if he doesn't do anything, do you think that the recall would be successful?
No, I don't think so. The polls right now are interesting. They show about 53% are against the recall and about 40% are for it, and the rest haven't decided. But I think that number is low. Basically, there have been two polls in the last week. One, the Republican Party put out a poll from the McLaughlin group that showed it's about 45 to 45 on the yes or no vote on the recall. But so I went and looked up the record of the McLaughlin group in last year's election. And in September of last year, the McLaughlin group showed that Donald Trump had a 55% approval rating. Nobody else showed him with that kind of an approval rating, and he didn't get anywhere near that in the actual vote. So the McLaughlin poll is a Republican-leaning poll hired by the Republican Party, and it's not very reliable. On the other hand, the other poll that's cited that shows about a 53% vote against the recall was paid for by the Los Angeles Times, and it uses the Institute for Government Studies at University of California at Berkeley. That's run by the man who used to run the field poll, Mark DiCamillo. And I can tell you that the polling methods they use are not reliable. I've studied their polling methods, and they're often way off in their polling. I think they're underestimating no vote on the recall, because that's partly because of what Newsom is doing. He's doing what any public official would do if he has a lot of money at his disposal and he's in trouble, and that is get the money out to the people. And he can do it legally because there's a California law that says if you have a budget surplus that gets above a certain size, you have to give it back.
Tom,
and half the money. No.
I'm sorry that the time is gone, but just translate really fast. Este recall dice que no va a progresar porque el 53% dicen que no aceptan ese recall, el 40% dicen que sí, y ellos, los republicanos, están presentando estadísticas que no funcionan y que ya se ha probado con otras encuestas. Thank you very much. I will talk to you very soon.
Yes, we will. Thank you very much, Lilia. And, good. Have a good week. Bye-bye.
Hasta la vista. Thank you. Bye-bye. Nos vemos, amigos. Gracias.
Call ended.
Cambié de aceite de mi automóvil y voy a derramar. Y después de eso, me iré para siempre.
No, no sabes que lo que derrames en nuestro valle queda en el valle y puede dañar